I got lucky that night and most of the time on Friday nights when she got home. I had stopped going with them. Which bring me to Friday night 5 weeks later. Maybe I should have cut in and reclaimed my wife or at least made an appearance at their table to let her know I'd been there tonight. I decided against either. I just watched and took 2 3-minute slow dance videos where they tried to F each other on the dance floor and then left. Megan tried to sneak in, it didn't work. I was sitting in the dark kitchen waiting for her to come in tonight. Instead of the usual 11 o'clock, it was almost 1 a.m. when tried to quietly tiptoe in. I hit the lights. Holy shit. Rick, you scared the crap out of me. What are you doing up? I woke up at 11:30 and when I saw you weren't home yet, I got worried. I tried to call you twice but it went straight to voicemail. Where the hell have you been? A couple of the girls wanted to stop at Denny's for breakfast. At this hour? Rick, it's Friday night. No one works on Saturday. Well, it would have been nice to know in advance. You have fun tonight? It was all right. I just need to grab a shower and go to bed. You want company? I saw the look and didn't like what I saw. I'm too tired to fool around tonight. I'll make it up to you tomorrow. She didn't and I wondered why. Our life went back to what it had been for the last few years. If I wanted it, I had to ask. Megan still had her Friday nights out but there were no more hot sweaty sessions when she got home. I wasn't going to waste my money on a PI, I'd need every penny if I ended up divorcing her sorry ass if she was cheating on me. On Fridays I went home, fed the boys, got a sitter and went looking for my wife. The group had branched out to more than one club and some nights it took me a while to find her. Was she still dancing with that same guy? Yes and no. Sometimes there were 2 of them sharing her time. More than once I took a video of what she was doing but I never saw her sneaking out to her or his car so I wasn't sure how far they'd gone. I was done F around. When Megan finally came home tonight she saw that the television was on and walked into the living room to turn it off. She put her hand to her mouth and crumbled to the carpet. I downloaded all the footage I'd taken over the last few weeks onto a disc and looped all the footage. The 28 minutes of video would keep playing and replaying until the DVD player was turned off. Me? I was in bed, with the bedroom door closed and locked. Was I asleep? Not a chance in hell. I was waiting for what I knew would come next. About 2 o'clock I heard a tapping on my door. Seconds earlier I'd heard her unsuccessfully try the knob. Honey, please let me in. Honey, please, she said again. I said nothing. Megan finally stopped 20 minutes later. Did I get any sleep? Not sure. I might have dozed off a couple of times but I wasn't sure. I showered and went downstairs just after 7 o'clock. The kitchen was quiet. Then I saw her. She was asleep on the couch. The television was off. I made coffee and put out cereal, milk, and bowels for my boys who no doubt would be up soon. I wasn't quiet but she never moved a muscle. I was having a cup of coffee when she finally opened her eyes. They were still red and puffy. She must have seen the tape. She got up and sat down next to me. She started to say something but I stopped her. Go upstairs and take a shower because you stink. Get yourself cleaned up because our boys will be up shortly. We'll talk later. It looks like she wanted to say something but didn't and headed for the stairs. The boys were wild as usual. They ate, watched a few things on television and then settled in with their PlayStation. They were good for probably 3 hours. When Megan didn't come downstairs, I went looking for her. I found her sitting on the bed. She hadn't even showered yet. I F up didn't I? Her eyes met mine. Believe it or not, I haven't slept with anyone. Rick, you have to believe that. But, you've done things you shouldn't have. Her eyes lowered. I'm sorry, she said. It was so wildly wicked and I got caught up in it all. I'm so ashamed. The only reason you're sorry is because you got caught. What was next? A 3-way? Or have you already done that? I've already told you, I didn't sleep with anyone. Megan, why am I having a hard time believing you? Hell, you and Pretty Boy were almost doing it right there on the dance floor the first night I caught you. Now I see why you were so hot to trot when you came home to your ordinary husband. Must have been a real letdown giving up what you'd had all night. Don't worry, I won't be bothering you anymore. Rick, it was just flirting. For Christ's sakes, Megan, I was there. Do you want me to play the DVD again for you? Maybe we can watch it together and you can explain to me what wasn't going on. The venom was pouring out of my mouth. Just take a shower because eventually the boys are going to want lunch. There are some things that still need to be done even if you and I stopped. What were we now? I didn't have a clue. It was still too raw and if she pushed me right now, Megan wouldn't like what I'd say to her. I walked out of the bedroom. There were things I needed to do and forgiving Megan right now wasn't one of them. When Megan finally came home tonight she saw that the television was on and walked into the living room to turn it off. She put her hand to her mouth and crumbled to the carpet. I downloaded all the footage I'd taken over the last few weeks onto a disc and looped all the footage. The 28 minutes of video would keep playing and replaying until the DVD player was turned off. Me? I was in bed, with the bedroom door closed and locked. Was I asleep? Not a chance in hell. I was waiting for what I knew would come next. Megan came down freshly showered and casually dressed about 45 minutes later. The boys had already finished breakfast and were watching television in the living room. There is still coffee left and French toast in the oven on low. I'm really not hungry. Well, eat it anyway. I'm not going to throw out good food just because you feel guilty. She didn't respond. Just got a plate from the cupboard and grabbed what was left. While she ate, I sipped on my coffee trying to figure out my next move. Saturdays were my busy days and I didn't want to get into it with her with my boys around. What did you do with the DVD? I asked, suddenly thinking about my boys in the other room. I hope you didn't leave it in the player. I'm not that stupid. I took it out and destroyed it. I never thought you were a stupid woman before, but now I'm starting to have doubts, I replied. Look, I may have pushed the envelope a couple of times, but I never screwed anyone or even came close. It was nothing more than harmless flirting. I had a bet with Janet I could get those guys all hot and bothered and have them buy us drinks all night. And, you can see from the tape, it worked. Why didn't Janet do the flirting? You've seen Janet. I'm surprised she can get her husband aroused enough to F her. I didn't spend a dime on drinks and made $20 to boot. You know what they call women like that? Teasers. I've met my share in my life and I considered them lower than whale shit. In my opinion, you've hit a new low. Rick, on the tapes it looks a lot worse than what actually happened. In whose opinion? If you'd seen me doing what you did, you'd be okay with it? If it was just some innocent flirting, no harm no foul. I shook my head. I'm taking the boys with me to Home Depot and Publix. I'll be gone no more than 2 hours. During that time I want you to think long and hard about what you did and where you think this marriage is going, if anywhere. Megan started to say something but I stopped her. I said, when I get home. I was physically shopping with my boys but my mind was elsewhere. Was I somewhat to blame because I encouraged her to broaden her sexual horizons? Maybe it worked too well. I thought about her selection of topics. I could see the Big D tape but not that with guys. Did she think I was bi-curious? Well, after what I did, I think she got my message. Megan wasn't home when I got back. Now where in the F did she go? I called her cell. She answered on the second ring. Where in the hell are you? I'm at Janet's and her, and I are talking. Are you home yet? Well, yeah. I'll be home in about an hour. Why don't we order in pizza so we can get dinner out of the way? This way we'll have more time to talk tonight. I said nothing. Rick, you still there? Yeah, I'm still here. I held in my anger. I want you home, in the house in an hour, understand? No problem. Rick, I do love only you. You have to believe that. Just get your ass home. I disconnected the call. I had a bad feeling about this. Like she promised, Megan was home by 3 o'clock. She came bounding in the door with a huge smile on her face. Not good. She came over, gave me a toe-curling kiss and said that she had a few things to do upstairs. Maybe those two women had told her what she'd done was over the top and she was totally in the wrong, but I didn't think so. If it was going to be another long night, I just knew it. I ordered pizza and a Greek salad. And by 5:30 we were eating. I looked around the table. Everything looked as it should, normal. While we cleaned up, the kids played video games. I could tell by the gunfire and explosions. I just hoped I wouldn't explode tonight. With the boys in bed and a glass of wine in my hand, I waited in the living room for Megan. She came in with 2 outfits on hangers. Now what? Before we start, I need your opinion on 2 outfits, she said, stripping right there in the living room. Megan. I started to say before she cut me off. Just go with me on this and I'll explain everything when I'm done. Okay? Fine, just hurry it up. The first outfit made me hard instantly. If it hadn't, I would have been dead. It was a floor-length silky black number, slit almost to her waist and was cut so low in the front that even if I didn't know what she had for breasts, this dress showed me. The second was a nice blue dress that stopped just below her knees and it reminded me of something you'd wear to church or work. What do you think? About what? I was playing dumb. About my outfits? Which one did you like best on me? Since I know this is a trick question, I'll bite. I like the black one on you. It makes you look just S enough that I'd want to F you without you even taking that dress completely off. See, you like it when I'm sexy and I like dressing that way for you. The blue dress is how sexy I was when you first met and married me. There is nothing wrong with the way you look in that blue dress and I sure as hell wouldn't want you to dress like AS when I'm not with you. See Rick, we can have both. I won't go back to being Miss Prissy. I hate her now. She was uptight and you yourself told me you wanted me more adventurous. With me, not some a-hole that thinks he can get in your pants. I was getting annoyed. That's the key point. He thinks he can but never will. I never even came close to giving up what's yours. I've been around enough to know what happens at those clubs. Guys go there to hook up with any woman who'll spread their legs for them. There is no way I'm going to throw my marriage away for a quick roll in the hay with one of those a-holes, no matter what he looks like. Or how hung they are? I added. That's why I needed to talk to Anne. Her husband Keith is hung, no question about that. I was and still am curious what it would be like to be stretched out by someone that well endowed. But Anne brought up one good point. After he's with her, she's sore for days. I wouldn't want that, but I can have my fantasies about experiencing it, can't I? Megan, I don't share. Never have, never will. I'm not asking you to. Look, guys see a busty girl in the mall and fall over themselves trying to grab a peek, that's all I'm doing. Why the tape? Did you really think that was going to turn me on? Okay, how about when we watched that tape with two women going at it? Did it do anything for me? Not at all, but I could see it in your eyes. You being with two women, even just watching would be a major turn on. Megan, let's cut to the chase and stop splitting hairs. Fair enough. I still want to experiment and experience all that's out there, but I want to do it with you or with your blessing. You need to believe I wouldn't cheat on you and that I love only you. Let me have my innocent fun, and in the process maybe I'll learn a few things that'll make our life even hotter. With that said, she sat on the couch next to me. We made out for the next 20 minutes before she slipped off the couch and ended up between my legs. Megan, stop. You're killing me. I don't know where you learned, but you're awful at it. I thought I saw tears. You're the only guy I've ever done it with. Don't you like what I'm doing? Talk about killing the mood. Give me your finger. How did that feel? Nice, she said, eyeing me warily. Now how about this? How about that? Not as nice, was it? Is that what I do feels like? I nodded. After that we took it slow and I showed her how I liked it done, and what she was doing right now felt heavenly. I loved the way her eyes locked on mine. She had learned well. Your turn, is all she said, slipping out of her blue dress. She was naked underneath. Tonight I'd show my wife a skillful tongue trumps AD any day. My method is simple, go slow and don't be squeamish. That was nice, she said, kissing me and then licking my lips. You know you taste just like me, she said, chuckling. I hugged and then kissed her. Megan, I love you so much. Rick, I mean, we can have it all. I don't want anyone but you, but do you trust me enough to let me explore what's out there? Let me think about it. Right now I'm not saying yes or no, but if you push me to make a decision now, you won't like my answer. The next week was almost normal. We acted like a happy, loving family, but it was only on the surface. Megan tried to seduce me every night, but I was adamant that she get checked out at the clinic. Rick, I didn't sleep with anyone. Why do I have to go to the clinic? Because if you don't, you can sleep on the couch and get yourself an attorney. I'm tired of arguing with you about this. You have 12 hours to comply or I'm filing. Your choice. Why is it that women think that just because they have what men want between their legs, they're in charge? Well, they're not, or at least she wasn't. Don't get me wrong, I knew that she hadn't slept with anyone, but I want her to feel embarrassed, walking into that damn clinic and asking to be checked out for VD. Maybe she'll know how I felt when she danced with those a-holes in clubs where people knew her and me. 5 days later she slipped a clean bill of health under my face as we ate dinner. The HIV tests take a lot longer, but I can guarantee you I'm clean. I looked at the sheet. Okay, at least now I know I won't have to use a thing. Tonight we talk, and if for some reason you don't like what I say, tough. Live with it or leave. Your choice. She didn't look none too happy. We didn't make love that night. I F her like a cheap WH. It had been almost 2 weeks and she must have liked it by the noises she was making. It was finally time to talk about moving forward. We need to make a few rules going forward. Rules for me or rules that apply to both of us, she asked. For both of us, I replied. They were simple and all basically boiled down to not doing anything you wouldn't do in front of your spouse. If you want an open marriage or sharing, fine. But you can do those things after we're divorced. But you said you'd let me experiment a little. And you can, but with me, no one else. Don't you trust me? She asked. Frankly, no I don't. I did it one time, but after seeing what you're like out there on your own, not anymore. Like I said, you can do what you want, just not being married to me. I don't think she was happy about it, but didn't want a divorce. We went back our lives post girls' nights out. We rented X-rated movies and experimented, and each of us got to plan a fantasy night once a month. She rebuilt my trust in her, and after 6 months I had no qualms letting her go out with her friends after work. Did I trust her totally? Not at first. But after following her the first couple of times I felt much better. Like before, now when Megan came home, I was waiting up. I was always glad girls' night was on Friday, because there was no way in hell I could have made it into work the following morning. I felt a little uneasy when Megan picked a movie the following month. Then I F up big time, not once but twice. Every year we looked forward to her yearly company picnic. All the children got great gifts and the food was to die for. What are they having this year? I asked. Pretty much the same as last year, but they've added a lobster appetizer and a raw oyster bar. Damn, we need to get there early before all the good stuff is gone. There had to be at least 350 people there this year. Like always, there were tons of kids' games and even a few for the adults. I mingled, ate my fill and drank maybe a bit too much. Looks like Megan was going to have to drive home tonight, I thought. When the band started, I went looking for my wayward wife. I found her talking to a group just off the dance floor. Got your dancing shoes on, babes? I asked, giving her a sloppy kiss. Rick, are you drunk? Not drunk, just feeling pretty good. That's all. She looked a little pissed. I danced 3 straight dances with her and only bumped into a few people. Rick, you're making an ass out of yourself out there. Sit down, have some coffee and sober up. Yes sir, I said, saluting my wife. But, I could always get coffee at home, and with a full open bar, I went back to drinking the hard stuff. I woke up alone in my bed with a head-splitting hangover. I didn't have a clue how or when I got home last night. The last thing I remember was someone looking down at me and asking if I was all right. Guess I wasn't. I found Megan at the kitchen table eating breakfast with the kids. The look she gave me wasn't special. I know. I screwed up and I'm sorry. Megan said nothing. She just stared at me. I guess I didn't drive? Let's see. After failing to start a beer chugging contest, you proceeded to make an ass out on the dance floor by yourself. If that wasn't bad enough, you grabbed the backside of the office manager's wife, asking her if she wanted to fool around in the parking lot. The only redeeming thing was that you kept calling her Megan. She quietly asked me if you did this a lot. I didn't know what to say to her. A couple of my friends' husbands followed us home and carried you up to bed. I was so embarrassed I could have crawled under a rock and died. Rick, you really outdid yourself this year. Megan, I'm sorry. Monday I'll call your boss and apologize for my behavior. I'll even call the office manager's wife and apologize to her.